Hey, it's Bill. Right now you're using energy just to watch this video, and guess what? We used a lot of energy to make it. The United States makes up just 4% of the global population, but we consume about 16% of the world's energy. Only China uses more, but they have 4 times our population. So what's the United States government doing about it? Both federal and state laws are pushing to reduce fossil fuel use and promote renewable energy. Let's look at the real data. In 2023, Americans consumed 93.6 quadrillion BTUs of energy. A quadrillion is a 1 followed by 15 zeros. A BTU? That's the energy it takes to light a single match. The average American household uses about 63 million BTUs per person per year. More than half of that goes to heating and air conditioning. Another quarter powers lighting, refrigerators, and water heating. The rest? Washing machines, TVs, stoves, and electronics like your phone or laptop. Now, what about your energy bills? Adjusted for inflation, the average electric bill in the United States has stayed relatively stable for the past 10 years. But the energy price that really hits home? Gas. In 2023, the average price of gasoline was $3.52 per gallon. Back in 1998, it hit a low, inflation-adjusted of $1.98, and in 2012, a high of $4.88. Today, Americans spend a smaller share of their income on energy than they did 40 years ago. It's gone from 8% down to about 4.2%. Honestly, even I thought that number would be higher. The electric power sector is the biggest consumer, about 34% of total U.S. energy. But here's a surprise. Over half of that energy is wasted just in the process of generating and delivering electricity. Then come 3 big sectors. Transportation uses about 30% of total energy, industry comes in at 28%, and residential and commercial buildings use 22% combined. In transportation, 90% of energy comes from burning gasoline and diesel. We've got over 280 million registered vehicles, but only 1% are electric or hybrid. That said, in 2023, 16% of new light-duty vehicles sold were electric or hybrid. That's progress. In industry, which includes manufacturing, construction, and agriculture, 75% of energy comes from petroleum and natural gas, and 13% from electricity. With AI and data centers booming, demand could rise even more. Residential homes use 12% of our energy, commercial buildings, 10%. Fossil fuels, oil, coal, and natural gas, still dominate the United States energy mix. Back in 2003, they made up 88% of energy consumption. Now, in 2023, that's dropped just a bit to 82%. Nuclear and renewables each make up 9% now. One major shift though, coal once provided 37% of our energy back in 1950, but today it's down to just 9%. The United States is producing more oil, gas, and renewables than ever before. Natural gas is growing the fastest. It jumped from 18% of production in 1950 to 38% in 2023. Nuclear power has actually remained pretty steady since 2001. Wind energy? It's doubled in the past decade. And solar? It's grown 7 times. Still a small slice, but definitely growing. Together, wind and solar make up just 2% of total energy. Oil production? It's huge. Since 2000, United States oil output has actually doubled. In 2023, we produced 22 million barrels a day. That's 22% of the world's supply. We export 4.1 million barrels per day and import 6.5 million. Why both, you might wonder? Well, not all oil is exactly the same. Sometimes it's just more efficient to export one type and import another. Bottom line, America is now the #1 oil and gas producer in the world. We've been a net exporter of petroleum since 2020, and for natural gas since 2017. Good news first, air quality has improved. Over the past 5 years, major cities saw 2/3 fewer unhealthy air days compared to the last 20 years. Rainfall? Despite drought headlines, the U.S. has actually averaged more rainfall nationally over the last 50 years. The worst droughts? the 1930s and 1950s. But there's a flip side. In just 2023 to 2024, the US saw 39 natural disasters that cost over $1 billion each, more than we had in the entire 1980s. And yep, 2023 was the hottest year on record, with global temps 2.12 degrees Fahrenheit above the 20th century average. Since 1880, sea levels have risen 8 to 9 inches, and the pace has doubled in the last 30 years. So, in 2022, the atmosphere had 523 parts per million of carbon dioxide and other gases like methane. Back in 1979, that number was 388. Jump ahead to 2004, and it was 461. By 2010, it reached 478. These gases, well, they trap heat, and honestly, they're a global issue. US emissions peaked in 2007, and since then, they've dropped 16%. Now sitting at 6.3 million metric tons. That's actually about the weight of 20 Empire State Buildings. Historically, the US has been the largest emitter per capita. These gases don't just disappear quickly. Some stick around for a few years, but others can stay in the atmosphere for thousands of years. While US emissions are declining, China's are rising. They now emit twice as much as we do. 73% of our greenhouse gases come from burning fossil fuels for energy transportation, makes up about 28%, electricity generation is 25%, and industry comes in at 23%. The rest, well, that comes from homes, businesses, and farming. Only 13% of these emissions are absorbed by nature. You know, trees, plants, oceans, and soil. That means 87% stays up there. Some people, like me, believe we need bold action on emissions right now. Others say technology will solve it slowly over time. And then some just don't think there's a problem. Global events shape all of this. From Russia's invasion of Ukraine to Venezuela's unrest, they impact what we import and export. So here's the bottom line. Understand the facts, listen to science, think for yourself, and ask, what are we willing to risk for future generations to protect their planet versus what's convenient today? This was Just the Facts, powered by usafacts.org. We bring you the data straight from the government. You decide what to believe. If you found this valuable, hit like, share it with someone who needs to see it, and don't forget to subscribe for more no-nonsense, fact-based videos.